What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what caused all of this craziness, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did go down 4.93%. It is going up slightly after hours, and that's largely because of Micron's earnings. But 25.17 the low, 26.84 the high, and another day of lower volume. So 49.6 million shares being traded, 69.1 is the average. So I'm gonna come back and cycle back to that because that was pretty much one big reason why SoFi did go down today, alongside much of the greater market. First thing, we did have mortgage applications and mortgage market index. Both didn't really come in line with the expectations, a lot lower than the previous. The market generally didn't really care though. So you can kind of see during the pre-market, that didn't cause any significant kind of push lower. There was a couple of things that did come out throughout the trading day. So during the pre-market, we also did have this. The Wedbush initiates coverage on quantum computing stocks. Even though that has no actual relevance for a lot of stocks, it still was more of a green light for more speculative plays. And what I mean by that is Wedbush is very well known for kind of outside the box type of thinking. And I think they're very popular and well known for their calls with Palantir, Daniel Ives more specifically. So in general, for them initiating coverage on quantum stocks, that's seen as bullish. Market like that, but that was rather short-lived because as soon as the market did open, it just pretty much went straight down. Yesterday, we did have Trump mentioning that there's going to be a big announcement today. And so far, what we've seen him talk about today is nothing but Venezuela. So in general, a lot of people are assuming that he's going to announce that the state is going to war against Venezuela. Might be very speculative, but potentially it could be happening. So that also really did cause the market to be somewhat spooked. And then no different than what I've mentioned over the last couple of videos, especially over my weekend video, I did say that it might be a rough week for SoFi. And this is, again, largely because of some of the data points that's coming out and also the Bank of Japan interest rate. So this is why we've been seeing more of a liquidity pinch. And it's very odd. I don't know why. Normally, there's a lot of people chattering about different things. Nobody's still talking about this. I don't know why. So let me know your general thoughts on this in the comments below. But clearly, there's a lot of really big things that has been really influencing the broader market. But like I mentioned, Micron is putting out their earnings. So far, it seems to be a pretty home run earnings. So that might be a little bit of a saving grace for SoFi and a couple other kind of stocks out there. There was no official news from SoFi, although that there was this. So I think Anthony participated in a podcast, not the one that was announced yesterday in their official PR, but this one is Crypto on America, or Crypto in America, where he kind of went over some various things that's coming down the pipeline for SoFi. For those of you that follow, I think his name is SoFi Insider on Twitter. He kind of hinted to already a lot of these. So it's not new information, I would say, but still definitely goes to show that SoFi is really focused and dedicated on crypto in the foreseeable future. One or several individuals that are not dedicated, this is a little bit more of a jab or a joke, I guess, but there has been a lot of 144. So one just came out this morning, a couple others after hours yesterday. So it goes to show that a lot of insiders are selling. And the reason why they're doing this is pretty much in about 2 weeks from now, there's going to be another blackout period where they won't be able to sell until SoFi's upcoming earnings. So in general, today we just had this one come out. So Stefan Simcock, who is an officer, sold 44,000 shares. That was done yesterday. We had a couple that was submitted yesterday. So Jeremy selling 91,000 shares. That was done, looks like today, so the 17th. We also did have Kelly, 64,000 shares. That was done yesterday. Jeremy, also 151,000 shares yesterday. So Jeremy sold yesterday and today, so kind of crazy stuff. And then a run 6,500 shares. So in general, this might not seem like that big of a deal to a lot of individuals, but still, if the sentiment is starting to turn a little bit negative, this might be enough just to push it over. But one thing to kind of take note of though is that it's for tax purposes. So you can kind of see tax purposes, taxes right over here. They're all listed as tax. So still depends on if that matters to you or not. It is what it is. It'd be nice to see some actual insiders actually buying, but you can only hope, right? Again, I think other than this podcast, there really wasn't all that much that did come out. Regarding shorts, they did return about 56,000 shares. 9.17% of the free float is being shorted, works to be 113 million shares overall being shorted. You're seeing the cost to borrow minimum go back to being negative again. So brokers are paying people to short SoFi to try to drum up some business. Clearly didn't work out too much or too well for them. But looking at the options, we had 28 million in calls, 20 million in puts, and then 50% of all the options being done were bearish in nature. This one stands out. So between 235 and 240, there was $3.5 million in premiums. So if we kind of pop this open, look at it from this, orient it based on premiums, it looks like mostly it was bearish. So based on the timestamps, you have these two ones right here that were bearish. So it looks like a $23 put was purchased, and this is for February 20th, 2026. They did have a premium that they paid of $1.57. So they need it to be at least like 20 and change. So not the best, of course. And then the second one that they did purchase was a second put, 26.50, and that is for December the 19th, so expiring in a couple days, and they paid $1.30. So again, looks like they are anticipating more of a further push lower. So kind of crazy stuff for that. So you see the premiums that they did pay and whatever else. There was a couple of other bullish ones, but that looks like was 30,000 or 31,000, 23,000. So relatively small stuff. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that 27 to 27.50. So optimism has definitely gone down quite significantly. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 25, 24.50 to 25. So definitely bears are betting that there is more downside. We had a lot of institutions selling today. So big one for today was 116.7 million. So crazy stuff. I don't know if they're going to regret it. Looks like they did sell at 25.27. Right now it's kind of pushing higher. So I don't know, sucks for them, I guess, but maybe they're acting based on some other information that has yet been announced yet, but definitely big money was selling today. So we also had 22.3, dark pool transactions. Large one was 9.5, 6.8, and then 3.16. So not too crazy for that one. With it right now at 25.27, it is now trading between this pivot and this S1. So 25.14 is going to be a strong support, and it kind of bounced off of that general range. So give yourself a shout out if you did somehow buy close to that general range, or if you got in at that 25.17 or whatever. But I'm looking at the 1-day chart, so these are very strong support and resistance points. So next one is 28.66, and I think that's fair to assume that's kind of off the table for at least a foreseeable future. So tomorrow and then Friday is going to be that big day. That's going to be sitting at 25.14. Aside from all of that fun stuff on the actual chart itself, unfortunately now this is looking a little bit more bearish. So it is breaking fully below that 100-day moving average. So next real big one is going to be that 200 sitting at $20 and change. So not saying it's going to be hit anytime soon, but potentially if things don't really clear up, then we could be seeing that general area possibly hit. And like I've said, I think just basically with some liquidity leaving crypto and also equity to go back to money markets, this is why we are seeing a lot of extra volatility ever since pretty much October. And for those of you that kind of watch my videos, I go over and I start off every video with the volume and kind of the range that it's been at. So we've been seeing less and less volume for quite some time. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. And actually a little bit more of a side asterisk, it's one thing just to as well look at the volume. You kind of have to look at what was really moving it. So even though I did bring up some very big transactions, that doesn't justify the overall volume today. So Even this right here, this shows the flow, and a lot of the smaller transactions means that it was algorithmic trading. So AI was really pushing SoFi down alongside much of the greater market, but at the same time, we also did see some institutions selling. So there was a lot of different moving parts today. Let me know your viewpoint on all of that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. This is some of the price action on a side note after hours. So we are seeing it generally wanting to kind of move higher. So we'll have to wait and see how it does play out, but give yourself a shout out if you did buy or if you sold. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.